Okay, we've created all our images. Blue square, green square, pink square, red square. And what I'm going to do is create some images on screen, and I'm going to do it after my link, after the client server link. Now, an image just consists of a single tag image. It's not one that requires an image and an end image, it's just a single tag. But it does contain an attribute. Rather like href, we need to know where to find the image. Now, mainly with web pages, you don't tend to talk to your file management system. In a lot of cases, that is sort of banned. Something that you will need to know, again, part of your revision when we do the client server stuff. I will show you later why it's sort of not allowed. But because this is a client and you're not going on the internet, it does allow you to access your own file system. But if you were sort of loading this page in from another web server, then the next line just wouldn't work. So if you copied it, because you'd need to copy across all the images and everything else like that, there's no guarantee that what appears in a web page, if it's talking to the local system, the client, that those files will be present. So we're going to write an image, and this time, instead of having a hypertext reference, what we're going to have is an image source. Okay, so it's just the same thing. Why they didn't call it href, I don't know, but it's called a source, and again we need the quotes. So that is the basic building block of an image with an attribute. And there are several attributes with image, rather like there are several attributes with the hyperlink, but they're mainly to do with the size of the actual image. So the image might be huge or might be small, and we can grow or shrink it by setting our own size. I'm just going to use the natural size that we use, so I'm just going to use the single attribute source, and inside the two I'm going to give it the file name that I want to have a look at. So the first one we'll look at is bluesquare.jpg. bluesquare.jpg, and that's it. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to refresh my browser, and now have a blue square. But notice that DBMS here, okay, that next line following it just appeared straight after it. So it's really treating this blue square as just a single character. If I really wanted to separate it on a line, maybe I could use the BR. I've got one more of these tags to show you, which has sort of been deprecated in Google Chrome. Deprecated means it's not used that much anymore, and it's called a paragraph. But I'll look at that later as a little bit of formatting. Again, that is just HTML, nothing to do with your exam whatsoever. So there's my blue square. And if I put a BR on the end of it, then I'm hoping that DBMS appears underneath. Okay, so let's go for the rest of my squares. I'm going to copy and paste this information. And instead of blue square, I'm going to load up the green square, the GIF file. So if I change that to green and GIF, save and refresh. There you go, I've got a blue and I've got that green mottled version. This is a very solid colour. This is sort of not so solid. Good reasons for that, which we will discuss later. The next one I'm going to do is which one shall we look at? A pink square, PNG. So when I was writing it or designing the image, I said that some browsers, older browsers, might not display PNGs because they contain transparencies. but I think modern day browsers all happily use PNG files. But we're going to find that out. So if I refresh my page, oh, that's because I'm not very good. I've got an extra blue square in there. Why did I do that? So you can refresh. There we go. So now I've got my blue, I've got my green, and there's my PNG displaying, which is fine. And the next one that I want to do is the bitmap, which is the Paint's default. The old version of Paint, it defaulted to bitmaps. Bitmaps were maybe mid 2000s. That was the standard when you had a digital camera. That when a digital camera took a picture, it was a bitmap. It saved as a bitmap. These days they tend to save as JPEGs. Paint, the default for Paint, so if you created a picture in Paint like I've done, the default for Paint was bitmap. And we will test your knowledge on this one shortly. So that was redsquare.bmp. So if I type redsquare.bmp bitmap, save and refresh my page. Oh, now that I did not expect. Bitmaps up until just this second have never displayed in a web page. Web pages were not capable of displaying them, and in fact if you search the internet for images you will hardly find a bitmap image. That has been a bit of a surprise. It must be doing some conversion in the background in Google Chrome. Maybe if I run this in Internet Explorer I would get nothing at all. So let's see if I can try that. Do I have Internet Explorer on here? There we go. Let's paste in the address and see what happens in Internet Explorer. Internet Explorers. Okay, so I'm going to be quiet about that one. It does display bitmaps. So it never used to. It does now. Well done, whoever's written the modern browsers. So that's getting colours in, or images in, sorry, and how to address them. We could, if we wanted to, let's find the address of a basic image. I don't know whether we can find the address of one of these. Fires in the High News, Children in Need. We've got a better one. If we just go and get a basic image. Let's look for a tree. Oh, that's a nice tree. Let's see if I can find the address of the tree. Nope, that's a stock photo. So, oh, this has not been a very successful video. Always the way. Did I actually get to the tree? There we go. So if I copy that address, close this window, close that window, let's close the Forest High School window, let's go back to my items, and if I do image source equals, and in quotes, on the internet, at that website or that computer, in that folder, in that folder, in that folder, that item. No, that doesn't have a JPG or anything on the end, so I'm not expecting that to work very well. Which should just make this video cracking. So if I do that again, no. However, can we see what we have here? It's really important again, is that we've got like a little picture. It's saying that it's a broken image, that the link is broken to the image. It's not a valid, which is what I was hoping for the red square, to be honest, is not a valid image. So I need to go back and I need to edit it. So I'm going to do that in the next video, otherwise this is going to be too long with too many errors.